By Memorial Day 2025, our country will be roaring back. We'll be well on our way to greatness like our country has never seen before. We were doing it, and then it got stopped by some horrible policies. We had horrible, horrible policies.
Hey there, subs and visitors. Today I'm going to talk about the tech war, the conflict between the United States and China over technological leadership, particularly in artificial intelligence and AI semiconductors. And this war has been going on since 2017, and it has involved a range of measures including tariffs, export controls, and market access restrictions. We've just learnt that shares in artificial intelligence powerhouse NVIDIA plunged on Wall Street on Monday due to concerns about Chinese artificial intelligence. NVIDIA shares tumbled 17%, which is the biggest drop since March 2020, erasing around $590 billion from the company's market capitalization, and it is the biggest one-day loss by a company in US share market history. And one of President Donald Trump's first announcements has been Stargate, the new joint venture designed to unlock up to $500 billion in private sector investment to fund AI infrastructure, to create more than 100,000 jobs and help the US stay ahead of its fast-moving rivals like China. DeepSeek's rapid ascent will add a deeper sense of urgency to what was already a fast-moving collaborative effort. Trump says he's going to help a lot through emergency declarations because, and I quote, "We have an emergency, we have to get this stuff built." And with the introduction of the fourth industrial revolution, more complex and more intelligent machines have made it so that the reality of getting upgraded with the help of devices isn't that far-fetched. Just as robotics and mechanical exoskeletons can amplify our physical capabilities, AI and digital data analysis now helps augment our brains. This is the age of transhumanism. And though the idea of a half human, half robot is mostly commonly depicted through science fiction, the truth is that humanity has always used tools as extensions of ourselves. With the help of smarter digital devices, we are now able to do more, sense more, and experience more than what is biologically possible. For example, access to neuroprosthetic implants and virtual reality devices now allows us to have digital experiences, and for those who were born with hearing loss, cochlear implants provide an opportunity to hear for the first time. And some might say this is just one of the many ways where technology paves the way to make life more humane. And as machines continue to become more intelligent, the singularity timeline is taking us to the cusp of exponential technological growth. And back in 2015, smart devices trumped the brainpower of a mouse. Today, we are steadily moving towards a future where intelligent machines are going to be smarter than all of mankind. And many prominent people in the tech industry have talked about the increasing convergence between humans and machines in the coming decades. And Elon Musk has reportedly said he wants humans to merge with AI to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence. Musk continually argues that in an age when AI threatens to become widespread, humans will be useless, so there's a need to merge with machines.
So a sensible thing to do is to start off solving basic neuron damage issues.
Yes.
Because there's obviously some risk with a new device. You can't get the risk down at zero. It's not possible. So you want to have the highest possible reward, given there's a certain irreducible risk. And if somebody's able to have a profound improvement in their communication, that's worth the risk. Yeah, as you get the risk down, and once the risk is down to if you have thousands of people that have been using it for years and the risk is minimal, then perhaps at that point you could consider saying, okay, let's aim for augmentation. Now I think we're actually going to aim for augmentation with people who have neuron damage. So we're not just aiming to give people a communication data rate equivalent to normal humans. We're aiming to give people who have, quadriplegic or maybe have complete loss of the connection to the brain and body, a communication data rate that exceeds normal humans. I mean, while we're in there, why not? Let's give people superpowers. Yeah, at first the vision restoration will be low res, because you have to say, like, how many neurons can you put in there and trigger, and you can do things where you adjust the electric field. So, like, even if you've got, say, 10,000 neurons, it's not just 10,000 pixels, because you can adjust the field between the neurons and do them in patterns in order to get, so have say 10,000 electrodes effectively give you, I don't know, maybe like having a megapixel or a 10 megapixel situation. So, and then over time, I think you get to higher resolution than human eyes, and you could also see in different wavelengths. So, like Geordie LaForge from Star Trek, like the thing. You could just, like, do you want to see in radar? No problem. You can see ultraviolet, infrared, eagle vision, whatever you want.
His company, Neuralink, aims to facilitate this convergence so that humans won't be left behind as technology advances in the future. And while individuals with disabilities would be recipients of these innovations, some believe technologies like this could be used to enhance abilities in everyone. And we are at the threshold of creating simulated worlds of our own, which will be indistinguishable between the world we live in now and a brand new perceived reality. And there's a maniacal sense of urgency when it comes to Musk, who is known to push his teams to meet impossible deadlines, leading engineers to engage in first principles thinking. And engineers who are highly aware of the physical limitations can become demoralized, essentially forming the ideal situation which disregards undesirable outcomes merely for the sake of getting things done. And the majority of the collective operate under these terms and conditions. Everybody's pushed to make ends meet and get things done, marching to the beat of somebody else's drum. And life is fast paced. People need to work to pay bills and are committed to meet the needs of families or a career. And all the while the tech age is advancing upon us fast, and if we don't keep up, we'll be left behind, so we're told. Now, every 64 days since July 13, 2024, something remarkably interesting has happened. Saturday, 13th of July 2024, was the earshot. 64 days later was Sunday, 15th of September 2024, which was the second attempt. And then Monday, 18th of November 2024, was the first sighting of the Jersey drones. And then Tuesday, 21st of January 2025, was the day that Trump announced Project Stargate. So perhaps March 26 is a date to look out for. There's also exactly 1776 days between 15th of May 2020, when Trump announced Operation Warp Speed, to the 26th of March 2025. Trump is also proposing the creation of a task force to work with state and local governments to ensure not just one day of celebration, but an entire year of festivities across the nation, starting on Memorial Day 2025 and continuing through to July 4th, 2026. Next year will mark 250 years since the Declaration of Independence.
By Memorial Day 2025, our country will be roaring back. We'll be well on our way to greatness like our country has never seen before. We were doing it, and then it got stopped by some horrible policies. We had horrible, horrible policies. They all happened so quickly. Not only will we be energy independent, but we will soon be energy dominant. We'll be making so much money, so much, that we'll be reducing debt and lowering your taxes. We're doing so many different things. Our country will be great again. I promise. Thank you very much.
So Trump has urged patriotic teachings in schools and rallied against anti-racism training that he says is destroying national unity, and that the only path to national unity is through a shared identity as Americans. So this year-long semi-quincentennial birthday bash is going to be all about restoring patriotism and, really building Trump up to be this saviour of America. Now, back to the topic of transhumanism. Tech billionaires are among the biggest promoters of transhumanist thinking, creating so-called artificial general intelligence, that is an AI system that can do all the cognitive tasks a human can do and more. And its current focus is within Silicon Valley, and AGI is seen as vital to enabling us to take on the godlike role of designing our own evolutionary futures. And that is why companies like OpenAI, DeepMind, and Anthropic are racing towards the development of AGI. Billionaires want to use tech to enhance our abilities, and the outcomes could change what it means to be human. And on September 27, 2023, Elon Musk spoke at the International Aeronautical Congress in Guadalajara, Mexico, and his talk was titled "Making Humans a Multi-Planetary Species." And he explains that people who live on Mars may need to be genetically altered to be resistant to radiation. And while it might seem a long way off, research is already underway to work out how this can be done. Which reminded me of the movie Gattaca, where Vincent Freeman has always fantasized about travelling into outer space, but is grounded by his status as a genetically inferior invalid. And he decides to fight his fate by purchasing the genes of Jerome Morrow, a laboratory and engineered valid. He assumes Jerome's DNA identity and joins the Gattaca space program. Now, of course, I don't believe that we can go to the moon or to Mars or anything like that. But I was reading an article where it explains that future human space missions to Mars and beyond may be realised for different research, economic, political, or survival reasons. Since space remains a hazardous environment for humans, space exploration and exploitation requires the development and deployment of effective countermeasures. And in the paper, it discusses prospects for human enhancement by gene editing, synthetic biology, or implants for the purpose of future space missions. And they argue that there are good reasons to consider such options, and that ethical arguments can be made in favour of human enhancement to enable long-term space exploration. So we went from Operation Warp Speed to Project Stargate. The large-scale public initiatives have captured the imagination of policymakers and the public with bold promises of transformative outcomes. And Operation Warp Speed aimed to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic through rapid vaccine development, while Stargate aspires to revolutionise healthcare using artificial intelligence to deliver breakthroughs like 48-hour personalised mRNA cancer vaccines.
Cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again using AI, in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
These initiatives truly highlight the growing influence of big pharma and big tech in shaping public policy. And Stargate's primary goals are twofold. One is to position the United States as a global leader in artificial intelligence, and the other is to revolutionise healthcare through AI-driven solutions. Its promise is the ability to detect cancer at the earliest stages, sequence its unique genetic mutations, and develop tailored mRNA vaccines within 48 hours. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. And the integration of AI into healthcare processes could challenge traditional notions of medical autonomy, both for patients and providers, and there's a risk that reliance on AI recommendations could overshadow human judgment and patient preferences, which is probably more likely than not to be the case, as it was during the COVID-19 pandemic. And, the models were used by policymakers and public health officials in their respective countries to assess the evolution of the pandemic. Nobody really got blamed for anything because they were using these algorithms to predict scenarios, and then they ran their policies based on those predictions. And, this is where we're headed. Instead of humans making decisions on where we're going and what we're going to do, it's going to be AI. AI will be the ultimate authority. So it will be interesting to see where this tech war goes next, and also to see what exactly is meant by emergency declarations in relation to the implementation of this AI system. One of the things people are terrified of hearing is a diagnosis of cancer and being told that they have terminal cancer. So, what easier way to get mRNA into people by telling them that they have cancer and that they have a vaccine they can give them within 48 hours that will cure their cancer. So not only that, it's going to be AI that determines the results of the blood test. So instead of trusting a human to do the work, we're going to be relying on AI for the diagnosis of serious illnesses, and I just wouldn't trust it. So it's all happening very fast, but the great thing about it all is that we don't have to merge with AI if we don't want to. It's going to be a choice, just the same as it was in 2020. So really, it's going to be up to an individual decision on an individual basis as to whether or not you want to go down that path. But that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to catch you on the next one.